But it was a film called Oliver, and the sets on Oliver, the musical, if you ever see it, are extraordinary. The canals, everything. And I was kind of at odds with everybody because they were all in suits and ties, and I come from art school and hair down here and Cuban boots. And I was in the art cinemas every weekend in London, just watching every foreign movie I could get my hands on, particularly Kurosawa, and he was my mentor. And I was always told, stop watching all that arty stuff. This is a career, and John Box mentored me. He really kind of fathered me actually through everything. And I would escape and go and look at the sets because I wanted to see how it was. And I was immediately told, get back in the office. You're not allowed out. And third time strike out, you'll be fired. But I would have none of it. And I learned everything from John Box throughout my entire career, even to this day. He was a master of aging sets. And finally, when they all knew I could draw and I could do all of this stuff, John gave me a prop. He gave me a box and said, could you make Fagin's box? And this is the first prop I ever made. And I thought, well, I have to make this look really old. So it took me weeks. I was at home burning it with torches, and I was aging it with boot polish and getting it down. And I wanted it to be indistinguishable. And that's probably where this career kind of took off. And then I had to, I just was so bored with this tea making and coffee and endless all day long. So I started to make worse and worse tea. Having shored up my position, they knew I could draw. I watched them grimace when I left the room. So I got promoted and I drew up one of the canals. That was my first set I ever did, and I drew up a canal and I aged it all down and made it look like an old Victorian canal, and that's where it really started. And I leapfrogged. I had an offer to go to Rediffusion Television, in which I was told that's your death of your career. You'll never work, because in those days TV was frowned on. But I joined this amazing period TV series being done with the art director, and I was with him down at Ighton Moat in Kent. And he said, I got to go back and design the sets and get them built. Can you take over? And so I was plunged right then into dealing with the director and getting everything right. So again, these are amazing experiences that I took the risk on. And then the first art director I saw, Charlie Bishop, was starting Randall and Hopkirk Deceased. So he invited me to go on that. And I was on the drawing board to start with, and he saw how bored I was, and I drew up a set that was for a crazed artist. And at exactly the same time, I'd heard the set decorator that the schedules were punishing. He unfortunately had a mental breakdown, and they didn't think he was coming out. I got called down to the set that I'd drawn up, and I thought, oh, I'm going to get fired because they can't shoot it. And the director said, this is the best set we've ever had. And they said, would you like to be the set decorator? And that was it. I leapfrogged my career by 20 years of sitting on a drawing board trying to work my way up. And that's really how it came about in a short version. Well, when I was doing it, I was alone on this department, and the decorator handles all of the designer would build a set, he'd design it and build it. We had to put everything that went into that set. So you're like an interior decorator. Same for locations. We handled all the weapons. We handled all the props, every single prop on a set, and vehicles. I mean, we handled the whole lot. I actually met Christopher Nolan here in Toronto when he was here with Dunkirk, and he's a big Star Wars fan. He looked at me and he said, you did it all on your own. I don't know how you did it. He said, nowadays everything's divided up. One man does cars, one man does guns, one man does tables and chairs. They break it all up. I was on my own. That's really how it was, and I prefer it that way than being broken up.